I was preaching tonight to the book of Psalms, chapter 37. Psalms, chapter 37, and we're going to read 3 verses tonight. We're going to begin at verse number... Actually, we'll start at verse 1 and we'll read down through verse number 5. Psalms, chapter 37, verses 1 through 5. I'm going to be speaking on the subject tonight, personal commitments. We're all committed to something. And so let's read, then we'll get into the message tonight. Fret not thyself because of evildoers, neither be thou envious against the workers of iniquity. For they shall soon be cut down like the grass, and wither as the green herb. Trust in the Lord and do good. So shalt thou dwell in the land, and verily thou shalt be fed. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and He shall give thee the desires of thine heart. Commit thy way unto the Lord. Trust also in Him, and He shall bring it to pass. And He shall bring forth thy righteousness as the light, and thy judgment as the noonday. Personal commitments. I looked up the word commitment in the Bible, and it's not there. The only word which relates to commitment is the word commit. Almost entirely in the whole Bible, the word commit relates to something negative. It relates to being committed to whoredom, being committed to adultery, committing to those things which we should not be committed to. We are living in a generation, and you know this is true, who is not committed and doesn't want to be committed to anything. And that's a very, very sad thing. And a great part of it has to do with their personal relationship with Jesus Christ. The Bible tells us here, first, there's a formula, and it builds upon itself. We choose to commit to a lot of things. Sometimes we overcommit, and then we wind up having to not keep those commitments. When you are committed to something, then you not only show up, you're involved. You're a part of it. And personal commitments, as a Christian, are very important. My wife and I were, as we were driving, I picked her up after our last Bible study, and then we were on our way here. And I was struck by what I saw walking down the street. So what do you mean? We live by a Mormon stake. A Mormon stake is a regional center. They have wards, they have stakes, and they have temples. Wards are like their version of a church, but they're not a church. Make no bones about it, make no mistake about it. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Mormon Church, whatever you want to call it, is not Christian at all. Okay? At all. It is a cult, and it is a horrible lie out of hell. The whole premise of it, the foundation of it, was on the basis of a man who was committed to whoredom. He was an adulterer. He was never faithful to his wife or to, let's say, wives. And what he did in the name of God, a foretaste of that is what you've seen that has been splashed on the news here and there. And every once in a while, some wacko in that religion will rise up, and they've got some kind of compound, and the police have to go in and arrest him and take minor kids, minor girls, out of the compound because this they do in the name of God. Okay? So anyway, what I observed as we were coming to church is a couple here, a couple there, and watching them. And you know how long that they had been there? Most of them had already gone to their ward in the morning. They are at that center when we leave for church And they are just dismissing when we're coming here at 4:30. Now that's commitment. And those people in our neighborhood, that's their local stake, and those people go there and are committed like believers or Christian people. It's unbelievable. But they are committed to something that is a lie. They're committed to something that the whole foundation is based upon a man, not the God-man. It's based upon Joseph Smith, who was a perverted man and was shot in cold blood in a jail out east. And then they moved it from there to Utah, and Brigham Young, who was one of his main guys, brought it to there and made it kind of what a lot of cults have done, took it from there. James Rutherford, he was a judge, and he, after Charles Taze Russell was ousted, and they disassociated themselves because of his lies. He divorced his wife, and he perjured himself in court. It's documented by the Brooklyn Eagle in Brooklyn, New York. That's where their headquarters is. They have the world's largest printing press there. And we've driven by it many occasions. When my wife was born in Brooklyn, and so we used to drive by it all the time. And when he was disassociated, then James Rutherford took it and made it the religion of the day. But it's all a lie. There are people that work, and I'm not joking. These are, of course, retired people, but I've visited them. I've been in their homes. I've shared the gospel with them. I remember talking to a 70-year-old lady who gave 70 hours a week, knocking on doors. That's pretty much what she did. So she took those Watchtower magazines you've seen, thrown on the ground. I pick them when we're out knocking doors. John knows this. I look around, I pick them up, I shove them in my pocket, and then I find a dumpster somewhere. I don't stick them in the neighbors because I don't want them looking and say, "What is that? I didn't put that in there." And then reading it, I'll find a dumpster afterwards and I chuck them because they're lies. But those people are committed. We're committed to whatever we choose to commit to. And in this particular text, David is telling us three things that we need to do in personal commitment. Number one is we need to make a personal commitment to delight ourselves in the Lord. Look at verse number 4. It says, "Delight thyself also in the Lord." The question that we need to ask ourselves tonight is, are we committed to things, or are we committed to God? What makes you happy? What gets you all excited? What is it that you have wrapped your heart around in your life? If you are not consumed with the Lord, and He is not your delight, you've not made the right personal commitment. Do you pick up when we're singing in the hymnal songs like, "Christ is all I need, Christ is all I need, all I need"? Turn to number 492 in your hymnal. Jesus Christ is made to me. What's the next two words? 492. 492. What's the title of the song? All I need. All I need are a nice house, nice car, nice clothes, nice food, nice everything. No, all we need is Jesus. That doesn't mean you can't have a nice car. You can't have nice clothes. You can't live in a nice house. You can't do nice things and have nice things. It means that you are not personally committed to those things. Do you not understand that in the Word of God, were many wealthy people? Abraham was the wealthiest man in all the East. Job was also, in his area, the wealthiest man in his area. He and Abraham are about the same time frame. God blessed His people. There's nothing wrong with being blessed. Nothing wrong with prospering. Nothing wrong with God doing wonderful things. If it wasn't for God blessing His people, there would be a lot of mission work that was not done. Millionaires and billionaires kicking in to give above and beyond. And mission work is all of us pooling our resources together. Giving for ministry is pooling our resources together. But God, He doesn't tell us that we cannot be blessed and cannot be of means. But what He tells us is, I want to be your delight. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and He shall give thee the desires of your heart. Here's what happens. We do it backwards. We go after the delights of ourself, and God is shoved out. He's not a thought. And then God knocks on our heart and says, hey, what about me? Hey! And we're not listening. Because we're so caught up in the things of this world. Tell me in a sentence or in a phrase, tell me what you consider to be delighting in the Lord. What would that mean? No right or wrong answer. I'm not going to say, okay, wrong, survey says, okay, no, I'm not doing that. This is not to embarrass you. I want you yourself to, in your mind, this is a little bit loud here, I want you to, in your mind, I want you to ask, to define in yourself, you had it on, we had it on. There, low, okay, all right. So define delighting yourself. Tell me what delight means.
Listening to music.
Okay, listening to music. Okay. All right, what's delight? What is delighting in the Lord? Listening to music can bring that delight, can get it prepares your heart. All right, Southern Gospel. Okay, good. All right. Enjoying His company. Do you enjoy His company? I know you're here, but what about all the other 6 days? I'm not talking about just Sunday. Because, we come here because human nature, we're expected to. We feel that compulsion to do. Hopefully it's a little more than that. But we're here. So I'm not trying to browbeat, or I'm not trying to make you real convicted, other than the fact that I just want you to consider what you do throughout the week and how much God means to you. If I'm married, some of you are, some of you are not. Some of you have lost a spouse. When you were married or before your spouse passed, wasn't that important? Delighting in that person. So what were your personal demands that you put on yourself to show that you delighted in your spouse?
Knowing how they
Okay, spending time. Okay.
how they think,
Knowing how they think.
thinking ahead of them.
That's good. Thank you for that, because my wife tells me I need to dwell with her according to knowledge, and that she brings that up quite often. You need to learn more about me, okay? So that's a good thing. Do you think, so let's take off on that. Do you think that if you know Christ, the more you know Him, the more you're going to want to be with Him? I didn't know Linda that well when we first moved to New York. But the more I spent time with her, the more things we did, the more I enjoyed being with her. And it's in any friendship. I mean, there actually becomes a point where you just enjoy being together. To the point where when you get married, or you decide to get married, that you just want to spend as much time as you can, and so you marry because you really love each other. And that's what God is looking for as far as our personal commitment, that we become delighted in Him. And so our mind is on Him. We speak to Him. We listen to Him. Bad thing if you don't listen to your wife. And it's a bad thing if you don't listen to your friends. So it's important that we delight in the Lord. Secondly, he says, not only are we to delight in Him, and does that bring a peace and a tranquility in life? Because you know you can always count on the Lord. He can't always count on us, but we can always count on Him. How many of you are not looking for world peace, okay, but you're looking